We got this one from CW Atlanta. Security barricades placed around Fulton County Courthouse in Atlanta. They are slow rolling this one, and we know what's about to happen. Fulton County DA says her team's work is accomplished, setting stage for Trump indictment announcement. As many as 18 people could be charged in connection with attempts to overturn the 2020 election results. I ain't mad at the Democrats. I'm not mad. I'm mad at the Republicans.
Yep.
The Republicans in all of these different states and all these different places do nothing.
Well, they don't use their power. Even when the right does have power, they don't use it. They refuse to use it because they don't want to be seen as, these right-wing fascist dictators. But the left, they don't care.
I don't know if I believe that. I think that the Republicans who are claiming they don't want to be tyrannical are actually just in on it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Well, it's a uniparty through and through. You have a select few people, congressmen and representatives that maybe not be a part of it.
They were not happy
at the
that
same
Trump
time.
won.
Yeah, there's always going to be conflict, and the uniparty is still strong, and it's going to stay strong. It's just a matter of breaking that up. How do you do that?
Where are we at with impeaching Joe Biden over his obvious and discernible shady business dealings with his son? Where are we at there? Kevin McCarthy said we're now going to begin the process of beginning an inquiry into impeachment.
Yep. So it'll never happen.
So now we're at the point where we've decided to start the process of asking the question, does this rise to the level of impeachment?
Which we already know it clearly does, but it's just a pony show. That's really all it is. It's just for show. It's to give people false hope and say, oh, look, they're fighting back. Oh, yeah. I mean, I think he could have been impeached within his first month in office. I mean, with all the evidence, even there was enough evidence with Hunter Biden and Burisma and everything.
But if you want to make an argument that those were pre-Biden presidency, then okay, then Afghanistan outright. Mm-hmm. That was such a disaster and utter failure. It warrants removal, in my opinion.
Yep. All the stuff that's coming out about Burisma and Ukraine and stuff, that's plenty of reason to impeach. There's sufficient evidence.
Yeah.
The testimony from what's his name last night or whatever. The
guest on the show last night?
The
whistleblower. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the whistleblower. Joe Biden was listening to all the conversations. Joe Biden would call all of Hunter Biden's business partners and stuff like that, associates, just to be like, hey, I'm Joe Biden. He's actually he can actually get me to help out if he needs help. So you should probably do what he says. That's exactly what it was. It's clear corruption, and I don't know. Like I said last night, I don't have a whole lot of hope in any kind of impeachment or any kind of actual.
Those Republicans don't do anything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Even at the state level, what we're looking at with the Fulton County DA, this is local politics. Going after Trump, trying to stop him from being able to run. They don't want an election. The Democrats are doing this because they know they lose. They will lose if everything is done standard fare.
I wonder if they would lose in a landslide because the majority of people are really over the.
Well, once you touch people's money, it's over. Once you touch people's money, I think that's the biggest indicator. I have left-wing people that I talk to all the time that are suffering financially. That's the biggest hit I think that you can do on somebody is once you mess with somebody's pockets, they're going to notice.
Yeah.
Ding, ding.
There's sufficient reason for the American people to not like Joe Biden. There is ample reason. I don't think that he's a popular president. I don't think you need to convince people that Joe Biden has done, a bad job. I don't think that's the argument that that anyone really needs to make.
I think people need to read, more history if you look at countries that fall into revolution or civil war. Because what's happening now with the indictment of Donald Trump, the third, technically, what would have been the third indictment, potentially moving to the fourth. This is worse than what happened in some of the, greater revolutions and civil wars throughout history, up to a certain point, obviously. So, I was reading about the revolutions in Russia, Tsar Nicholas and things like that, the Spanish Civil War, Weimar Germany. And there were things that happened that were considered to be major catalysts of revolution and civil war that were not on par with one leader weaponizing government against his rival political faction to this degree. Some of these major political moments were like a referendum was held and power was transferred from the executive branch to to parliament. And it's like that was considered a great revolution and things like that. It was like a tremendous moment happened when the monarchy transferred certain executive powers to for parliamentary decisions. And they call that the great upheaval or something like that. This is Joe Biden is trying to physically remove his principal rival because he's losing in the polls.
Well, I don't know about because he's losing in the polls. I think he would do that even if he was winning the polls.
Well, what I mean is we can look at the polls and see Biden's losing, and it would seem that the only reason to really go after Trump in this way is because they know they can't win.
Like I said earlier today, I think that this is bigger than Trump. I think that this is about making a statement about people that are outsiders, not even really attempting to get into the office and kind of bust your way into the inner circle and try to make changes and make demands. I really think that the established bureaucracy really hates Trump because he would have made significant changes if they allowed him to.
We got a statement. I want to read Trump's statement. He responded to the indictment. He says, "This is nothing more than the latest corrupt chapter in the continued pathetic attempt by the Biden crime family and their weaponized Department of Justice to interfere in the 2024 presidential election, in which President Trump is the undisputed frontrunner and leading by substantial margins. But why did they wait 2.5 years to bring these fake charges right in the middle of President Trump's winning campaign for 2024? Why was it announced the day after the big crooked Joe Biden scandal broke out from the halls of Congress? The answer is election interference. The lawlessness of these persecutions of President Trump and his supporters is reminiscent of Nazi Germany in the 1930s, the former Soviet Union, and the authoritarian dictatorial regimes and other authoritarian dictatorial regimes. President Trump has always followed the law and the Constitution with advice from many highly accomplished attorneys. These un-American witch hunts will fail, and President Trump will be reelected to the White House so we can save our country from the abuse, incompetence, and corruption that is running through the veins of our country at levels never seen before. 3 years ago, we had strong borders, energy independence, no inflation, and a great economy. Today, we are a nation in decline. President Trump will not be deterred by disgraceful and unprecedented political targeting."
Well, I think we were still in decline. We were just in a bubble. The Federal Reserve screwed us. 2007 was the obvious example of how we're in decline. We've been in decline since we went on fiat currency. So I can't stand when Trump takes credit for a booming economy when it was a bubble. But that part, other than that part, this sounds about right. You do not politically persecute your opponents in the middle of an election season, the day after your son gets shown for being corrupt. I mean,
this is what they claimed Trump was doing. Mm-hmm. They claimed Trump was trying to dig up dirt on Joe Biden, and that was an impeachable offense. Joe Biden is literally indicting the frontrunner, and they're like, it's a good thing. These are evil people. Mm-hmm. They know what they're doing. They know they are evil.
Yeah, I agree with Phil there.
It's typical blame others of what you're guilty of. That's really what we're seeing here, and they're just going to continue to do so.
And the Republicans do nothing.
They're guarding that inner circle of the uniparty. Like, Hillary's still pissed that Trump said, you'd be in jail on the stage. Humiliated her. Like, she's not going to let that go. She's going to watch till her last day on earth. She's going to be wanting to make that guy's life miserable. Mm-hmm. And she has a lot of connections and a lot of power in the U.S. government, obviously. And that's why I get to the point where I'm like, nothing I can do can help this system. Nothing I can do politically can help. If I don't even want Trump to get elected, but if I want to, nothing I can do could help him get elected. Nothing. All I can do is make hit records, and maybe people will cry in their sleep and realize that life's not so bad and forgive each other.
Helping someone get elected is quite simple. If you go to someone and say, register to vote and vote for Trump, you are helping Trump get elected.
I just got blackpilled right there.
The reason I said no, I feel like nothing I can do is because I feel like if I got 100 million, if a million people registered, it doesn't matter because I can't read the vote tally. You got to prove to me that voting system is legit. If you're going to do that in secret, then I don't have any evidence that you're doing it right.
It's like secret ballot has always been the thing in the U.S. Like,
well, we don't get to see who voted for who.
Yeah.
But the idea that we take all the ballots, send them to a private company that goes behind a black curtain and comes out and says, "Trust us, this guy won."
Yep.
Yeah, but BS. That's we can't work that way. And so now we're seeing there's been like court rulings overturning these attempts to stop universal mail-in voting and things like this. If it comes down to ease of access for random people to vote, Democrats are for it. If it comes down to security, Republicans are for it.
I'm neither. I just want like secure. I mean, is secure the right word? Sorry to interrupt you. What were you about to say? I just want transparency in my election process.
So that's security. Yeah. You want that's what the right wants,
yeah.
And that's what this whole thing has been about. Is we want fair and free elections. We want transparent elections.
You have to, but then I could see like if the mob truly voted in a psychopath, you want like someone behind this curtain being like, psychopaths can't get in or we'll lose everything. Okay, let's...
No.
Well, I mean, look at, like, if you're actually talking about a psychopath, right? Like, majority of CEOs are psychopaths. I'd say a good majority of our presidents have been psychopaths because you need that extra edge. I mean, I say God, gifted us psychopaths for a reason. Granted, not a lot of them are great, but we need them in society. They're a natural occurring process.
Let me read this tweet from Jack Posobiec. He said, the Trump case has been assigned to U.S. District Judge Tanya S. Chutkan. According to the court docket, Chutkan, an Obama appointee, is the only federal judge in D.C. who has sentenced Jay's 6 defendants to sentences longer than the government had requested. Very obvious where this is going.
Yep.
Y'all are in a civil war, and people like to ignore it, but just read about the U.S. Civil War, the Spanish Civil War, the Russian revolutions. There was more than one. Read about the French Revolution, more than one. And it's interesting how they kind of
like 75 years to figure out how to like have a proper government that's the French. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I was first they had a revolution, and then Napoleon became emperor.
Yeah.
It's like, and then another revolution.
They had a revolution that went wrong, and then they started killing people. That was the big problem.
That was back before Napoleon.
And then after Robespierre was killed, there was some turmoil. Then Napoleon was
one of them. But read about
Russia. He was like, I'll take it.
And the Bolsheviks. Read about Russia is particularly interesting. Failed leadership. People were unhappy is a simple way to put it. And so you take a look at what's going on now, and this reaches the level of historical revolution, civil war, or collapse.
And it makes sense on the timeline of history because all the cultures of Earth are blending now and causing mass chaos in the United States, particularly as the front runner. So it makes sense that we'd be facing revolutionary pressure or civil unrest or civil war like pressure. It makes total sense. Now we just got to see how do we fortify against it, because if it's obvious that it's happening, it makes sense that it would be happening, then there's got to be an antidote.
But how do you fortify against something when you don't control the institutions? We don't control any sort of power whatsoever regarding the institutions, and the institutions are going to be where the majority of the ideological, basically brainwashing is carried out.
I guess you build your own institutions. It's challenging when you're up against a monopoly, like Minds is like a social network that's free software, has no political leanings. Daily Wire is a good example of something that appeared out of, or like Angel Studios, that's kind of a new institution that can make whatever movie they want, and it'll get put in movie theaters around the world, regardless of the gatekeeps. That's one way to do it.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.